folks, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. This one geyser here along the walkway and the driveway for the hotel was going off a little bit higher a few minutes ago and showing a rainbow effect of light through the geyser. Yeah, here's the latest that's going on at Yellowstone that I thought I would bring to you. There was several articles recently posted about Yellowstone, and it said how 2024 will probably be remembered as the year of hydrothermal explosions. And there were two noteworthy such events, each important for different reasons. I'm showing you the Newport Lake region. It's interesting here because they got a new steam vent that went off close to one of the boardwalks, and luckily it was off season, so no one was hurt during that eruption. But this area too also is the area close to, or I should say, where the dead bison were found. Gases came up while the bison were grazing, and they literally dropped dead where they were standing. Here's an image here. It shows was one bison calf, a yearling, an adult, another adult, and another calf. Yeah, the toxic gases came up so fast that they just dropped where they were standing. Here's another image. It's from March of 2004. No sign of struggle or anything like that. So it's only 3.76 miles from where the new steam vent erupted last year. One of Earth's most famous supervolcanoes sits under Yellowstone National Park, and after lying dormant for about 160,000 years, it is beginning to twitch, they say. Current investigations have established a shift of magma activity in the northeast part of the park, and researchers have formulated a historical perspective to address this activity. Astute research has revealed that the magma is shifting underground in the northeastern part of Yellowstone. The last evidence of a volcanic activity, it's kind of debatable, 135,000 to 160,000 years ago. This finding, demonstrated by YVO, Yellowstone Volcano Observatory research, indicates that certain aspects of the certain volcano behavior are shifting. Large magma reserves suggest that the whole volcanic system is still active. This here is the Niffer, however you pronounce it, most recent hydrothermal eruption. It evidently erupted during the off-season, so there was no one to witness it, not like the eruption of the hydrothermal Black Diamond Pool. That happened when tourists were walking along the boardwalk. There was a lot of destruction. As magma shifts northeast from Yellowstone, Yellowstone would likely have certain outcomes. It could also change pressure in other areas of the volcanic system, possibly awakening other dormant areas. While specialists point out that there's no sign that the volcano could erupt soon, geological data suggests that the system is indeed changing in ways still unknown. First came the hydrothermal explosion in Norris Geyser Basin. That occurred on a terrace overlooking Porcelain Basin on April 15th. So we'll zoom into that. The site had been abundant with thermal activity over the past few years, with water cascading Newport Lake since 2022 and causing the lake to change to a blue-green color and the level to rise. Newport Lake, traditionally an unremarkable pond near the entrance road to Norris Geyser Basin in the Wyoming Park, was originally dark green. In 2021, Newport Lake level, as it rose dramatically, climbing several feet, while its color did transfer to a distinctly milky blue. This is evidently a hallmark of hydrothermal activity. So here you can see how it changed in color. A new hydrothermal monitoring site at Norris Geyser Basin included not only GPS and seismic sensors, but an infrasound array which can detect the strength and direction of low-frequency acoustic energy. And on April 15th, at 2:56 p.m. local time, the station recorded a strong acoustic signal from the direction of a new crater. Seismometers at the region also recorded a signal, but based on their distance from the crater, the signal was moving at the speed of sound and not at the speed of a seismic wave. Evidence that the signal, they say, was caused by a surface event and not an earthquake. Well, they do have earthquakes that have occurred that also travel at the speed of sound. There was no obvious immediate precursors to the eruption. I often talked about how volcanoes can erupt with no warning whatsoever at all. So there was no precursors for this new hydrothermal eruption. It might be that no changes occurred, or perhaps they were too small to be detected by the stations. The closest station, which was about 1,640 feet or 500 meters away. Here we have two images. The one on the left was from April 2nd, showing the water and the porcelain terrace. And then the one on the right was from April 21st, and the location of the new eruptions. The white mark here on the left, that is the boardwalk covered in snow. And then on the right, you can see it's let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, it's like in brown. This hydrothermal explosion occurred about 160 feet or 50 meters from the boardwalk. Fortunately, the explosion was too small to eject debris to that distance of the boardwalk. And it occurred during a time when much of Yellowstone National Park was closed to visitors as winter operations transitioned to summer. After the eruption, the water level there in that lake soon dropped, but not without leaving its mark. Nifford Lake is now surrounded by a ring of dead trees along the shoreline. These trees, some of which are already fallen into the lake, were killed when they were inundated by the silica-rich water, marked by the telltale white stains on the tree trunks. Google Earth Images is from 2013, so it doesn't show the dead trees that had fallen into the lake or anything like that, and I can't seem to find any images of that for you. I do have an image of what they consider the area of the eruption. We got a small crater here, disrupted ground, and then the different ejecta. Now this image here is showing the steam vent, the new steam vent. You can see this fallen branch here. Let me bring it in, make it bigger. How it is covered in white from the silica. The same cannot be said about the eruption on July 23rd of the Black Diamond Pool at Biscuit Basin. So let's see if Google Earth will take me to the area of Biscuit Basin, going down towards the south here. Yeah, this is the location of that hydrothermal eruption. This event occurred just before 10 a.m. local time on a bright sunny day when dozens of people were there along the boardwalk. They had to run for their lives, and large rocks were thrown out. Here's images of the eruption. This is from Reddit. I know I have some images saved somewhere. And this is when they first started to run. There was one elderly person who couldn't get out of the way as fast. I don't know if she was injured or not, but she was covered with the hot mud and debris all over her body. Here you can see an image of one person within the field of the debris and the hot steam and gases. There was no precursor to the eruption. It came unexpectedly. But I don't know if you can tell here, but this other little pool, it was steaming prior to the eruption of Black Diamond Pool. And it does look a little milky, doesn't it? The eruption spewed debris over a very wide area. And yeah, look how high it went up. Steam, the mud, the water went several hundred feet up into the air. There was a lot of dramatic videos posted on social media showing the plume of water and rock fragments rising. They estimate now 400 to 600 feet or 120 to 180 meters in the air. Based on analysis of the photos into the air as people ran for their lives, the explosion heavily damaged the nearby boardwalk and the basin remained closed. I don't know if it's still closed or if they got it back open. But thank God no one was hurt. This is the whole area that was, destroyed. The consequences of the Yellowstone eruption that could possibly occur in the future are catastrophic. The climate and ecosystem will be affected. Yeah, it would be affected worldwide. You know, even a small steam-driven outburst could have serious impacts to anyone that might be nearby. Volcanologists still do not have a good understanding of whether hydrothermal explosions have detectable precursors, but additional monitoring in these regions can provide more insight to the question. YVO hopes to expand the scope of gas monitoring in thermal areas. In Yellowstone is not a friendly place for continuous gas monitoring. Data communication must be done by satellite, which requires significant battery and solar power, and the harsh winters take a toll on the sensitive equipment. There is currently a continuous gas monitoring station near Mud Volcano, and we'll go to that. It's up by the end of Yellowstone Lake, I think. Right here. Let me bring it out. Yeah. So here we have Mud Volcano, and this is where Yellowstone River goes out. So here is the GPS monitoring for Mud Volcano. And to the east, which is not surprising, the ground is once again coming up, going towards the east, because that is the direction that the Volcano Hot Spot is moving. Then to, let's see, this is the north, which is dropping. And also, let's see, this one would be, well, it says fixed, so I don't know. But to the east, where the direction of the magma chamber is slowly moving towards the northeast, yeah, it's rising. And as you know, that the lake is also tipping. Let me bring this down. This is the location right here, Mud Volcano. And you can, I'll give you a link to this. You can see the air temperature, pressure, wind direction, H2O, CO2, H2S, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. For some reason, either there's no sulfur dioxide being emitted from there, or they have faulty equipment. I don't know. So for CO2, you can see back on the 21st and 24th, they had a spike. Then on, I don't know, somewhere between the 2nd and the 5th, there was a small spike. And this is what they're currently showing, but it's behind. Doesn't quite show the 14th. So during the time of the heightened CO2 and other gases, you can see that the water vapor was also higher during those dates. Here we got the 2nd, and then the 21st through the 24th, and then all the way up to the 3rd, and then here's the 14th. But for some reason, it's not picking up any sulfur dioxide. There was maybe a little tiny peak here just before the 2nd and just before the 21st. So I don't know if that, like I said, I don't know if it's working properly or It's just not emitting any sulfur dioxide. So going back to the live view of the live webcam, it's kind of hard to tell. Oh, we got a little shaking going on. But down here at the Firehole River, yeah, it's a little dirty. Yeah, look at that. Sometimes it goes, yeah, some really deep, dark colors. So here I wanted to show you real quick the data that I downloaded. It was probably almost 2 hours ago. The one on the left is from the Norris Geyser Basin. The one in the middle is Moose Creek, Idaho. And then the other one, Western Boundary. And I've talked about how the magma is moving under the ground, flowing west to the Snake River Plateau. And you can see there's more evidence of that there. So this here is the borehole. And they're not reporting these two small earthquakes. Let me close this out. Everything marked in red is a small little popper. If I can find the spot where it's at. Sometimes they're really hard. There we go. Where it brings up the heat and the gases. Yeah, things like that. But I want to go to this one right here. This small earthquake. And I've talked about how you can tell fault movement from magma moving under the surface. These are all sharpened points. You can see them on the top and the bottom. And this is a very small earthquake. It's picked up at the borehole. Now these boreholes are very deep wells under the ground. So they do not pick up anything that happens outside of the borehole. Say it's snow removal equipment, or cars, or trucks, or stampeding equipment, or snowmobiles. It does not pick that up because it's just too deep. This comes in as a magnitude 1.56, a very small earthquake. And then we got another one right here that's even smaller. And that one comes in as a 0.96. But up farther, we got another one. And I've talked about how when they're marked in red, that means the quake was picked up by the monitoring equipment. A text message or whatever would have been sent to the University of Utah saying, hey guys, we got an earthquake here. So there's the spectrogram, which shows you the heat. It's the sound of the steam and different types of gases coming up. And there's the seismic signature. So this comes in as a magnitude 1.44. I don't think they reported it either. At 2026 Universal Time. Looking at USGS, no, it's not being reported. The last one they reported was yesterday on the 15th at 2023. So this would have occurred at 2:33 p.m. And it was in fact yesterday, but not the one they're reporting because this is from the Norris Geyser Basin. And the one that they do report was later, 2:33 Universal Time, a 0.5, all the way over there at Hedgen Lake, and that would have been at 8:33 p.m., where this one came in much earlier at 2:33 p.m. local time. We do have two more smaller ones here. 5:19 Universal, 4:18 Universal. Yeah, those are not being reported either. When you see a signature, let me bring this over, kind of like this little square, where it's all what they call cropped, that's when they're adjusting the monitor there in their offices. So I guess I'll show you the western boundary real quick. And you can see we got some small, slow-moving tremors. We got another slow-moving tremor there at 4:18 Universal. Let me bring it up. That's probably the largest of them there at the western boundary. Right there. That would have been another small earthquake, a magnitude 1.59. And we'll go back to the seismic signature. See, it's all pointy. We do have here one marked in red. Yeah, you can see that wasn't very deep. If it was deep, it would have gone all the way down here to the bottom. So, yeah, so here we have up and down rounded top showing the magma on the move. Yeah, as it moves across there for the Snake River Plateau. But in between that, let me try and make that bigger. Nope, that's still magma on the move. See how it's rounded? So what kind of effects will it have on the crust of the earth as the Yellowstone Hot Spot moves northeasterly? Yeah, they don't know. All they're going to be able to do is watch. Yeah, you can see how it's kind of discolored right now. So that's all I have for you right now. Please put your comments or thoughts or questions down below. Thank you very much for your support. Yeah, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for me. Yeah, I am greatly humbled. I don't know what to say. Please like, please share. Make sure you're subscribed because YouTube has been throttling me back, as they say. And even people that are subscribed, they don't get notifications for some reason. I don't know why. They call it throttling back when they withhold notifications for different YouTube channels that you subscribe to. Anyways, always be prepared for a disaster. If this thing ever does decide to go off, it will have global consequences. Please, please be prepared. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you all. Bye.